Hey guys, welcome back.
To We Think Biblically.
So glad you could join us once again.
Yes, we are. We're just so glad you're here.
We are following through with what we said. We are gonna. Last time we done a Mother's Day episode.
Well, not last episode.
It
wasn't
you know
the last episode.
Well, excuse me.
When it was Mother's Day, we did an episode.
But Mother's Day was over.
Day.
Yes. So
this time we're doing a Father's Day episode. The Thursday before Father's Day.
Yes, Father's Day.
Thursday we post this.
Yes, it is
the Thursday before Father's Day.
Yes, it is Thursday, June 13th, and Father's Day will be Sunday, June
16th. I think it's 16th.
We check in our calendar to make sure. We're not good with dates, guys.
16th.
Yes, so Father's Day will be Sunday.
Tomorrow's the 13th, so
June
it'll be posted
16th,
tomorrow.
2024.
Yes.
Dun dun dun. But yeah, anyway, we really didn't like the idea of posting a Mother's Day episode after Mother's Day.
It was kind of crazy, but we did it anyway. So
yeah, we're great for doing
hopefully
crazy things, guys.
Anyway, but
so this time we are going to be talking about dads and the great and wonderful things about.
Here, let me. I'll say a quote real quick. The most important thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother. How wonderful is that quote? I don't even know who that's by, but I just wanted to start that out.
Irrelevant. No, I'm just hanging. That's true. I would say the most important thing is to love the Lord.
Yeah, but I'm just.
I would edit that quote a bit.
Shut up.
Because if you love the Lord and you're truly serving the Lord, you'll love your wife. Yes, even when they're hard to love.
Maybe you'll love your wife.
So anyway, guys, our week, I'm not even going to ask Brianna how her week has been because I know it's been great because she's been with me. I'm just haggling about that. But
it has been a good week because we went to Branson for our anniversary and we have been together a lot. And
our anniversary was June 11th.
Yesterday.
And we've been married 8 years.
8 years. I had to calculate that like 4 or 5 different times because I said, there ain't no way this can be 8 years.
That's how easy I am to live with. She didn't even know it was 8 years. That's when you know you're on the right track.
Oh, yeah. You're pretty good to live with, I guess.
Yep, pretty good. I'll take it. Anyway, though, guys, we had a good time. We went down to Branson, Missouri, just mainly done stuff to entertain the kids.
Yeah, actually, the whole trip was only to entertain our 2 boys. So.
But it was a good time.
We enjoyed
overall.
It too.
It was good taking a
seeing
little break.
Their faces light up and stuff.
Yes, and it was good for me to take a break from working. I mean, even though, I don't know.
You gotta get up at 6
a.m.
in the morning and go right back.
It was still like we was getting up early, was going all day, looking in stores. I'll be honest with you, I think there's times I would rather be on a job than walking around stores, chasing our kids down. Like sometimes that is a job in itself. I feel for Brianna on a daily basis. I think I have it hard, but she got her work cut out for her.
Yeah, my boys is pretty. Well, 54 ain't. I can't blame it on 54. It's mainly Cohen.
We ain't gonna say they're wild. They're spontaneous.
That's the word. Spontaneous is the word.
Right. Anyway, before we spend this whole episode just rambling on about nothing,
let's get into our topic.
We're just gonna go ahead and get into this topic and see where we end up with things. So, as you guessed, it's a Father's Day episode. We're gonna be talking about dads and the importance of them, and just reading some stuff about fathers. You know the drill. So, we're going to start out with a Bible verse, and it's going to be in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7. If you got your Bibles, you guys can read along or write the Bible verses down, check in on them later. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 7. It says, the righteous man. I'm going to read this in the Amplified version. It just kind of breaks it down more and gives us a better understanding of it. The righteous man who walks in integrity and lives life in accord with his godly beliefs, how blessed and happy and spiritually secure are his children after him who have his example to follow. And guys, that is just so important right there. You know, you may not know this, and I've only been a dad since 2019, so I haven't got many years under my belt. Going on 5 years now being a dad, but I've learned a lot from my mistakes and things I done wrong and just trial and error, and if I could pass on some things maybe I've learned to another father who's maybe kind of new to this whole dad thing, you could learn from my mistakes that you don't have to make the same ones, but make for sure that you're being the type of person that your kids can respect, that they can look up to, whether you think it or not. It could be the simplest thing or something
Your
major.
kid is watching you.
They are watching you, and that goes for the moms too. This is a Father's Day episode, but you can switch that either way. Mom and dad, both.
Snap on the moms.
They're watching you. Be careful how you live your life. Be a person. Be a man or a woman, but mainly a man because this is the episode for men. But be a man who loves the Lord with all his heart, who's not afraid to serve the Lord and to surrender his life to the Lord. I'm going to read that verse one more time. It says, "The righteous man who walks in integrity and lives life in accord with his godly beliefs, how blessed, happily, and spiritually secure are his children after him who have his example to follow." Make for sure the example you're leaving your kids is one that you are happy that they are following, not something, well, man, I wish my kids wouldn't be doing the same things I'm doing. I hope they turn out different than I am. Well, don't just hope, but be that example that they can follow
you can change
after.
your life now,
yes,
and turn it around and let your kids watch you and they can see the good stuff that you do instead of bad.
And it's sad to say, many people, I've heard people talk about their fathers, and they said the only example they left me is what not to do.
Yeah.
Guys, that's a shame. We shouldn't want to do that. And we're going to get into some other encouraging stuff.
To say it, but that was my dad.
Be an encouragement to your kids. Be an example they can follow. I can look back and then I'll let Brianna take over for a minute, but I never did have a godly father. My dad did not get saved till he was in his 50s, I believe. And he was a great dad. I got nothing but wonderful memories being with my father, doing all different things. But he wasn't a Christian father. And there's things I look back onto now once I got saved at the age of 16 that I needed a godly father's direction and guidance. And my dad would try to tell me from different, to the best that he could, but again, he wasn't serving the Lord. He was blinded to certain things. There were certain things he just did not have that spiritual understanding to direct me in. But my dad left me good examples. They always raised me to try and push me in the right way. Again, from a worldly perspective, I had wonderful parents, wonderful father, but then onto the Christian side of things, some things was lacking. But let's not just be a good father or a worldly. It's only by the
grace of God that we're where we are.
Yes. Let's not just be, I don't want to just be a good dad to my two boys on a worldly perspective, providing for them, doing fun things with them, spending time with them. But I want to be a good Christian father to my sons. I want to set an example for them to follow after when they get older. So that's just something to think about. Brianna, you can go from there.
Okay. I'll start off at reading Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Being a good father means disciplining your kids. It's what God does for us. Hebrews 3 through 11. It's kind of a lot of reading, but Hebrews 12:3 through 11. For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. You have not yet resisted to bloodshed, striving against sin, and you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks to you as to sons. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. For whom the Lord loves, he chastens. Which, that means, what's the other word for that?
Correct. Chastise.
Chastise. I'm looking for chastise. He chastised what's that word?
Scourges.
Scourges every son whom he receives. If you endure
Chastening.
Sorry, why did I say chastening? Because it looks like that's how it's spelled. Okay, chastening. God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there whom a father does not chasten? But if you are without chastening, of which all have become partakers, and you are, what's that word? Sorry, I do not know how to read very good.
Illegitimate. It means like you're not like a true son or a daughter.
Furthermore, we have had human fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed for a few days chastened us as seemed best to them, but he for our profit, that we may be partakers of his holiness. Now we chastening seems to be joyful for the present, but painful nevertheless afterward. It yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. That was Hebrews 12:3-11. Go read it yourself, because you'll probably understand it way better than me reading it to you. Raising our kids, that's what we have to do. The Bible says we have to discipline our kids. It doesn't make you a bad father to tell your child from right from wrong. Do it in a loving way, but let them know they have to obey you. The question is, how do you discipline? And the answer is with love and patience. Don't act out of anger and frustration. Learn new strategies to instill discipline in your kids. Respond in love, just like God responds to his kids. Proverbs 1:8 says, Hear, my son, your father's instruction, and forsake not your mother's teaching. You can go on.
We'll get back into it in just a second, but I was just thinking of fathers, like, instill certain things in their children. Like, what is something you can say that's like, I don't know, something your father, like a lesson or an example, something he instilled in you, something you learned from your dad something you learned from your dad that has stuck with you through the years. To do, not to do, something you like that you were commending him for, like that you follow after, or something that, like, he said, well, I don't want to do that. I want to be different.
There's tons of stuff that I don't want to do to be like my dad. My dad wasn't the type of father that you would really want. Sorry, but it's not. I don't know. I guess I look back at my kids and I don't want them to see me always angry and stuff, because my dad was always I guess he had so much anger in him and stuff that it was just always a fight anywhere we go, any place we would do, and I just don't want my kids to be in that.
Right.
I want them to be raised differently.
Something that always stood out to me about my dad, he was...
Your dad was a good dad.
Brianna will laugh at me for when I say this, because he's completely changed now. I'm laughing myself because he's completely changed, but at one point in time, my dad was like the most stern person that there ever was. If he said something, that was it. It was done. I mean, like, I remember me and my brother would be grounded for doing something. If he said, listen, you're not walking out for 1 week straight, guess what? And I'm not joking one bit. We would not walk out for 1 week. If he said you're grounded off television for 3 days,
it's television.
You was grounded off of him. If he took the game away, whatever it was, or if he said if he said he was going on a diet. Now he's overweight bad now, but if he's listening to this,
Did he ever go on a diet?
Yeah, he really did. Like, I have memories of him. He was probably like, I don't know how old I was when he was born. I don't know how, to that backwards. I don't know how old he was when I was born, but it seemed like he was like in his like prime, like it was in the heyday of things for him. And I remember he was like on a diet, and he done it great. He'd eat one time a day and stuff, but whatever he set his mind to, and you can ask other people this, like
He kind of still is like that.
he was
in a
very,
way. I mean,
he was very stern. Like, I mean, when he set his mind to something, and that's something
kind of in a way like that. But
it made an impression on me. I want to be somebody that sticks to my word. Whether it's...
Well, your dad kind of don't do that no more.
No,
so.
he's changed. That's why I said Brianna would laugh at me. But I want to be the same way. You know, I want my kids to have faith and trust in me. If I say something, Dad's going to stick to it. Whether that's in chastising them, if they get in trouble, Dad tells them they're in timeout. You know, we're having to put Finney 4 in timeouts now. He's at that age.
Yeah, I can't wait for Cohen to get that age.
It is hard when there's times, and I try not to, like, just set some ridiculous timeout limit. Like, it might sometimes.
I mean, he's only 4.
Like, I ain't even gonna exaggerate or like lie about it. Sometimes his timeouts is only like for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I stick to that 5 minutes. I do not change it. Now, one day he was really bad, and I told him, I said, "Son, it was done getting late."
It was already 10 o'clock, I think.
I can't remember what time it was. It was
late.
A kid his age should have really done been to bed, but Finney 4 has late bedtimes because we're out late sometimes. But anyway,
we're on a whole complete different schedule as people. Our kids go to bed at 11 or 12.
I told him, I said, "You're grounded off your game for the rest of the night." He was grounded off his game. Now that was hard to stick to because I seen him how bad and it killed me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was probably more sad than what he was.
I was so sad too.
But I told him that I had to stick to it, and he learned a lesson from it. You know, I went in there, I talked to him, explained to him what went on. But my point of that is, you know, we draw things from our fathers, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah.
Set examples for them, and be the type of a father or mother that your children can draw something from, that they can say, I want to have that same kind of character. I want to have that same kind of that same kind of way that my mother or father had. Help me, Lord, to follow that. So that's just something to think about. Okay, there is a book. I don't endorse maybe everything into it, but it is a really good resource for like Christian dads or husbands, and I actually think he made one for women. I bought it for my wife, but it's The Resolution. If you guys have ever watched, yes, there's the Resolution for men and then the Resolution for women. But I've never read the woman one because
the woman one's actually
obviously
pretty good too. I mean, there's some things you just gotta watch.
You gotta glean from.
Yeah.
Right. But the man one, the one for men, it was great. I liked it. Like I said, there's some things you got to glean from. I'm not going to be the one to tell you things that I don't agree with or like, but use caution and, you know, just kind of glean from it. But it has a lot of great stuff, and I'm gonna read some of the stuff that's into it that is so true. Okay. God created fatherhood with an external purpose to reveal and represent himself. He did not simply realize that earthly fathers were like him and then decide to call himself our Father. On the contrary, he eternally existed as God the Father in heaven and intentionally created the role of fatherhood on earth to reveal who he is and show us the nature of his relationship with us. To show the nature of his relationship with his son. All fathers come from him, and then it gives some Bible verses, Ephesians 3:14-15. Every human father is called to be a daily, listen to this, now this is something that I read this and it truly convicted me. And it really makes you, examine yourself. Listen to this, dads. Every human father is called to be a daily physical representation of God to his children, to introduce him to the next generation. When a child looks at his earthly father, what does he see? Now, that's something, when I read that, I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh. Because, guys, I ain't even going to, there's times, like, and there's no excuses. This is, again, I don't want to be the type of dad that makes excuses or just always making, like trying to comp out from something. But there's been times I've come home and it's just been such a long day or something, and I've just been like, man, I'm just ready just to lay down, forget it, done. And maybe like you're short-tempered or you're just frustrated or whatever the case may be. And at them moments, what does your son or your daughter see when they look at you? Are they seeing something of God? Or if you told them, when I get home today, we're going to do this. And if you've broken them, and you may say, this is nothing. That's so simple. But have you broken that promise to them? I'll tell you what that will do.
Because you're tired when you get home.
Yes, you are their earthly father. And if they grow up thinking they can't trust you, that your words don't mean anything, that you don't care about them, that you've broke promises to them, when you tell them of a heavenly Father that's made promises, they're going to first say, well, my earthly father didn't keep promises. My earthly father never kept his word, so this heavenly Father probably ain't going to do it either. And it hardens them towards the Lord. But when they look at you, when they see the Father, this is something these are the qualities of God they should be able to see in the fathers, in the dads. A loving provider, a strong protector, a truthful leader, a respectable authority, and an intimate friend. Now you have to find the balance between that, between the friend and the respectable authority. You can't just be your kid's best friends at all times. I remember my mom would tell my dad that all the time. You're not just their best friends. You're not just your children's best friend. You got to be their father. And I remember my mom had to remind my dad of that at different times. And I even got to remind myself of that at different times. Now again, you do it, you correct them in a way. You got to work that out with how you parent. You got to work that out. You and your wife or your spouse, however, you got to work that out, how you parent them. And that may look different for each group. But there has to be that authority there. But then there also needs to be that relationship, that bond there. So,
sometimes me and Penny Four is like brother and sister.
Yes, and the respect that they are fighting. Okay, now listen to this. I'll try not to be long, guys, but there's so much here to cover. I got so many things I'd like to share. The research is staggering. Prisoners, drug users, this is all from this book, The Resolution. It says the research is staggering. Prisoners, drug users, dropouts, runaways, rapists, all share something in common. And this is what it is. The overwhelming majority of them come from homes without a father. Now that is something to think about.
Yeah, it is. And it's so true.
All those things that I just read to you.
People that was raised without a father. And
right. Prisoners, drug users, dropouts, runaways, rapists, all share something in common. They come from homes without a father. They did not have that intimate friend.
Yeah.
And they did not have that authority that they had a mother. They had a mother there.
Yeah.
But a father can't fill the mother's place. There are certain things, and I believe we've touched on this. There are certain things with the children. I cannot fill Brianna's place. They need her. But then there is also a place, and I love this place. I love being that. There is also a place that me, Finney, I can only feel in my children. I love that. I'm a jealous dad. I will not even try to hide it. I love that. But we need to be aware of that, Dad. You're needed. Mom, you're needed. Don't just put it off on one or the other. We are needed together. I need Brianna. She needs me, of course. Our kids need us both.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, you are needed. Brianna, you got anything you want to say?
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's see. From the television.
Could you please stop calling it that?
Okay, from the TV, the internet,
Television.
the movie screen, to their interactions with the opposite sex. You, fathers, are responsible for framing the perimeters and laying the ground rules, but of course, you need to be sure you're abiding by them too. Now, this is so true. Not saying one thing while doing another. You must teach and train without hypocrisy. What you teach, you must live. Now, how true is that? Not only just saying, hey, do this, do that, but then you are doing the complete opposite. That is never going to work. That will harden your children to the gospel. That will harden them to the things of God. But what you tell them, your lifestyle must align with it. Yes, and that goes for ministry. That goes for not just your children, not just your own family, but that goes with even reaching the world.
Yeah.
Let your lifestyle match up to your words. You know, when your words are saying one thing, but you're doing the complete opposite, that's not going to preach. That's not going to witness. That's not going to shine the light. of Christ to those unbelievers. So, just something to think about. Brianna, you can take over from there.
Are you going to read those?
Yeah, I got those. You
go ahead, because I got stuff about a husband next.
Oh, I got some of that too. It says how a husband's so great and the wife is so blessed. And, oh, okay. Anyway. I'm just giving Brianna a hard time, guys. Okay, let's see here. Like a father, this is in Psalms 103:13. Like as a father pities his children, so the Lord pities them that fear him. And I then read Proverbs 20:7. Okay, and we'll get down to this, and you can read the same thing, probably.
What are you gonna,
Ephesians 5:25-33.
Wait, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the wife ain't gonna really like this. The wife ain't gonna like this.
Let them have it.
I'm
just joking, guys.
I have a hard problem with this verse sometimes.
Oh yes, whatever it is, she struggles.
Ephesians 5:23 says, "For the husband is the head of the wife."
Boom shakalaka.
I have trouble with that.
And you know, guys, now hold on, men, before you get your heads all puffed up. That's a responsibility. That's not just. That's not just. Oh, hey, it's not just a power play or something. You know, like, oh, you're just bossing. No, when it says you are the head, it means you are responsible. You are guiding them, whether you know or not.
The husband has to pick the food every day. They're the head of the household.
That's the only time she ever submits to this Bible verse is when she don't know what she wants to eat and she just throws it off on me. Oh, hey, the Bible says
you're the head of the household. You
no,
figure
but
it out.
On a serious note, for real, think about this. Try walking your body the way that your head's not looking. You're gonna walk into something. You're gonna walk into a wall. You're gonna trip and stumble over something. Wherever the head is looking, that's where the body's gonna follow.
Yeah,
Husbands, that is not just something to pump yourself up or have pride about, that you are the head of the house. You are responsible for the direction your family as a whole is going. So be aware of that. Yes, you are the head of the household, but we as the head of the household are to direct our family unto Christ. Christ is the head of the body, period, permanently. So just something to think about.
That's true. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read 24.
Go ahead.
Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
Yes, amen. No, sorry, go ahead.
I'll read 25.
Yes.
You're going to read 25.
Oh, yes.
Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. You can go from there.
Yes, and see, guys, that's talking about the sacrifice. You know, Christ laid down his life on the cross for us. Husbands is supposed to be willing to sacrifice and give up anything to provide for the family. Now, spiritual provision. I'm not talking about robbing, still. I'm not even talking about worldly possessions. We are to provide worldly, but also spiritually.
Spiritually is more important.
Are we?
Your wives need a good, godly husband.
Yes.
Whenever me and you first got married, you was childish.
Yes, very.
Very childish in a lot of things.
So childish.
And so that led me astray. I don't know.
So I was the blame? Oh my god. Pretty much.
You're kind of the blame. You're the head of the household.
Guys, this is news to me.
He was kind of the blame. Because I just, follow you.
I don't take that blame. But no, but what she's saying is so true,
It is very true.
We need to be more aware of
what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're living.
How much of an influence we have on people. So
your wife looks up to you, believe it or not.
Yes. So true.
They look up to you. I always look up to you. Even when we're at church and whoever's preaching, I look over to see if he's agreeing with it. Because either he's shaking his head yeah, or he's just sitting there. And when he's shaking his head yeah, then I know, okay, I can listen at this too. But if he's just sitting there, then I know it ain't no good.
Wow. So. That just puts pressure on me when we go to a church service.
For real, I'm always staring at you when somebody's preaching.
Okay, so anyway, guys, I recommend that book. Definitely check it out.
For women and women.
We don't there may be things you disagree with. I don't know what denomination you come from. I don't know all your theological and doctrinal stands on things, but it's a good book. You can glean from it. There's true things like that, which I just read. You can take from that and learn. Okay, we're going to go through a couple of things and we'll try to wrap up. We're going to talk about a few things here about fathers. A godly father knows God. That's a mouthful there. A godly father knows God. It should go without stating, but many men want their children to have a relationship with God. Listen to this. But do not have such a relationship with God themselves. You cannot direct your children to the Lord and talk to them about an intimate relationship with God and direct them into that if you do not have one yourself.
So true.
One, you will just look like a hypocrite, and two, I mean, you just
be like, Dad or Mom, why ain't you doing it?
Right, and if you're not following the Lord yourself, you're spiritually blinded. You cannot even comprehend or understand the things of God.
And even pray when your children's around you, because they see that. They look at you. Finney Four is always like, Mom, you want to pray for this? Do you want to pray for that, Mom?
Yes.
And it's so cute and so good. I love it.
Yeah, so many men want their children to have a relationship with God, but do not have such a relationship with God themselves. Listen to this. They let their wives take the kids to church, trust that the preacher will instill godly values, and assume they are being what they need to be, because they provide exposure to godliness, but children model what they see. Listen to that. Children model what they see. If dad does not consider obedience to God important, how important, let me ask you guys a question. All this is so convicting. As I've just been studying this out for this episode, guys, I have been in prayer asking God to help me. No matter how good of a dad, husband, or man of God you are, don't ever think you have arrived. There is still room for improvement.
Yeah.
How important is obedience to God? Are you willing to compromise when it's something that needs to be done? Whenever there's certain little areas in our life that we need to get that, are we willing to compromise obedience to Him? Are we willing to stay obedient no matter the cost? Because listen at this. It says, if dad does not consider obedience to God important, why should they? If dad doesn't lead the family spiritually, it must not be a priority. So godly fatherhood begins within the heart of a man. He considers his own relationship with God the most important one in his life and models that godliness for his children.
That's so true.
So think about that. Brianna's going to love this next one. But guys, this is so true. A godly father loves and honors his wife.
Yes, they do. Amen.
Told you should like that one. It has been said that the best gift a father can give his children is to love their mother.
Oh, how sweet.
Didn't you just read that quote like a minute ago?
Yeah, I did. That's crazy.
Dang it. When children grow up watching healthy, loving interactions between their parents, they naturally seek to imitate that in their own marriages. Now, that is a good point. I know couples, I ain't going to mention no names, but I've told Brianna, they have kids and stuff, and I told Brianna, when their children grow up, they're going to think this is normal. This is how my dad always treated my mom, so I'm going to treat my wife this way. Or vice versa. Well, my mom always lied to my dad, or my mom always done this. My mom always kept little secrets, or I can do the same thing with my husband. It's not setting good examples. What kind of example is the mom and dad setting in the marriage for their children? Are we being examples? Are you being an example of what true love looks like? That it's not always that Disney movie kind of stuff. It's not just always the fairy tale. But sometimes, guys, love is a sacrifice. Sometimes it's give and take. Sometimes, are you truly being an example of what that love looks like in the marriage? Think about that. A godly father loves and honors his wife. When children grow up watching healthy, loving interactions between their parents, they naturally seek to imitate that in their own marriages. Sadly, children often do not see their fathers and mothers loving each other. Even if a man is divorced or single, he can still model respectful behavior towards his children's mother. If he is remarried, he can demonstrate a loving relationship with his current wife. They need to see the mother and father living out that love in a true example.
But we really don't believe in remarrying.
We'll just leave that where it's at for another things
You should have
happen.
just
No,
not said
no. Things happen, guys. I ain't gonna say. Well, I don't know, but things
I
happen.
guess, but-
We'll leave it at that. Things happen sometimes. I don't know the ins and outs of things.
That's not really the Bible. So
But anyway, another one. A godly father, and this is hard for me. Or is this the one? Let's see. Maybe that ain't the one, but no, this one. I don't know if this one's hard or not. I can't remember, but anyway, I'll read it anyway. A godly father accepts responsibility for his children's spiritual training. Too often, the children's training is left to the mother. While the father considers a paycheck his contribution to the family, sometimes I felt that way, like, man, I've went to work, I've done my part, I'm done. When I get home, I want to lay down, I want to just sit. Brianna's had it easy all day. All she's had to do is chase around a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old all day long, like chasing around a department store, fixing them something to eat every 2 minutes, changing a diaper, can't even walk to the fridge without one of them glued to her leg. I mean, like, I think, well, man, she's had it easy today. All I've had to do is ride in the truck, get out and stand around on some blacktop or do something. Like, when I get home, I'm done. But guys, that's not the way it is. Dad, when you get home, your job is not just ending. Your job is just now starting as a father, as a husband. Be on guard, be alert.
As soon as you get home, the kids run straight to you. Daddy, let's play the game, Daddy. Let's do this, Daddy.
And I love that, but sometimes, sometimes it gets overwhelming. That's one of those things I was talking about, that when you've had a hard day, you're just like, I'm just so irritable.
You
feel like the Cookie Monster. You just want some snacks, and you're just like, oh, no. But anyway, the father considers a paycheck his contribution to the family while providing financially for a family is an important responsibility. For fathers, it is not their only responsibility. Ding, ding. So true, guys. While he may delegate much of the day-to-day teaching to his wife, a godly father still bears responsibility. For example, he should pray with his children, talk with them about what the Bible teaches. He encourages Christian character in his children by his example, not just by his words, by his example, as well as his words of instruction and the expectations of behavior he sets forth for and enforces with his children. A godly father, this is number 4. We're going to end after this. We'll let Brianna finish out. I got a few more things here. A godly father is continually aware of his influence. Do what I say, not what I do, has been the unfortunate attitude of many fathers. Little eyes observe and learn from watching dad's behavior. Regardless of what he says, he believes sons in particular need male role models to show them how to become men. Dads may not realize it, but everything they do is influencing their children.
It's so true.
Guys, this is just like a wake-up call. That's convicting me just reading that. Like, just what makes me want to be alert and be watchful. It reminds me of the Bible verse. Be sober, be vigilant, for your adversary the devil walks about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Yeah. We must be on guard. Let's see where I was at. But everything they do is influencing their children. Words alone are not enough. Consider what a child might learn from these fatherly instructions. It's not enough just to say words, guys. We got to put those words into action. Church is important. This is just things like dads would say. Church is important, so you guys go, but I'm staying home to watch Sunday football. What kind of example would that set for your children? You're enforcing to them, go to church. But I gotta stay home. The New Orleans Saints, the best football team in the world, is gonna be playing today, guys.
The Chiefs is playing the New Orleans Saints and gonna kill them.
Yes, boom. But
I said the Chiefs was gonna win.
Oh, I thought you said the Saints was gonna kill them.
I said the Chiefs was gonna kill the Saints.
Oh, I thought you said that the other way around. Saints would always win. But anyway, that wouldn't set a good example.
I think the Chiefs is gonna win the Saints, but I don't know what I say.
That wouldn't set a good example. Or listen at this one, guys. Don't you lie to me. But if that phone rings and they're asking for me, tell them I'm not here. What kind of example is that setting? You're telling your kids, don't you ever lie to me. This is an open household here. We tell everything. There's no secrets. Don't you lie. But when that phone rings, if it's somebody for dad, I'm not here.
Yeah.
That's being a hypocrite. That's not setting a good example. You're saying the words, but you're doing the opposite, and it's gonna harm your children. It'll damage them in the long run. I just cussed out our neighbor, but if I hear you guys say,
cuss out nobody.
We don't have a neighbor really, but anyway, or it's like that Bible verse, who is my neighbor? But no, listen to this. I just cussed out our neighbor, but if I hear you guys saying those words, you're gonna get it. Ooh, that sounds so much like something my mom or dad would have said back a long time ago.
Oh my gosh.
But for real, what kind of example would
What are
that?
you reading on this thing?
What kind of example would that say?
Well, a very bad Christian example. Christians don't cuss for one.
Or what about the dad or mom that always tells them, "Oh, you stay away from drugs, you stay away from alcohol, but now bring me a beer and my cigarettes." That needs an example. For real, think about this. It's just something to think about. Like, we say so many things, and we're trying to discipline our children in so many ways, but then with our actions and every single thing you're living something completely different. Our lifestyles must match our words and the thing we are saying. Brianna, I got tongue-tied. Overlook me. But no, guys, it is so true. Okay, let's see.
This is going to be fun to listen back at. You're going to read all this?
Just a few more things.
Yeah, and then you would read the ones about that? Are you serious?
I'm
got
sorry.
So many good other ones.
This is a good one. A godly father is consistent. I'll leave it at that. I won't even read it all. But being consistent in your example that you're setting with the Lord, you don't just serve the Lord when it's easy and convenient. You serve the Lord at all times. You don't compromise. You're consistent in.
Go ahead and read this.
Okay.
Go ahead and read this because this is something you're not.
Well, that's mean. A godly father is consistent. Nothing confuses children more than inconsistency, either in discipline or example. Hey, I got something I just thought. I'm consistently I am a consistent failure. I am consistent at messing something up.
Gosh.
No, but a godly father is consistent. Nothing confuses children more than inconsistency, either in discipline or example. A father who is angry one minute and loving the next creates.
You're not angry 1 minute, loving the next. You're angry for 5 hours and then loving the rest.
When she says angry, it's frustrated. I would not label it so severe as angry. There's different levels.
Did I mess this up?
No, you're good. Okay, angry 1 minute, loving the next creates insecurity in his children. Dads need to be careful that they don't take out their frustrations on their children. Like I said, I've had to learn from that.
And I have to learn
And
from
later
that too,
excuse their behaviors by saying, I was just upset.
I've
been guilty of that.
Yeah. I've been so guilty of that a lot.
Godly fathers channel their anger where it needs to go. On the trash can. You go outside, maybe you guys will know what I'm talking about. You go outside on, like, you ever watch Love Dare? Or is it Fireproof? Fireproof. Love Dare's the book. You go outside and you kick your trash can over, and then the neighbors across the yard sitting looking at you like you're crazy. You're out there.
Go watch Fireproof.
Yeah, you'll understand what I'm talking
it's
about.
Really funny.
Me and my wife, and we're getting off topic, but me and my wife is the only couple who could watch Fireproof. They're supposed to unite couples, supposed to bring them together, and it causes an argument.
This makes us argue.
Because she says, "Oh, you don't do that for me." But before I get myself in trouble, we'll move on. If the dad says, let's see, I was just upset. Godly fathers channel their anger where it needs to go. They practice forgiveness. They never allow anger to create confusion in their children. If dad says he's going to do something, he'd better do it. Children need to know what to expect from their fathers.
That's pretty true.
It's very true. All true. 100% accurate. A godly father does not allow himself to be controlled by outside influences. That could be drugs, alcohol. I could go in 100 different directions. We'll leave it at that one. A godly father is a man under authority. Now, I know many times men struggle with this. We want to come across as rebels. We're men. We don't need direction. We can put a table together without instructions. You end up having to.
You definitely can't.
You end up having seats turned around backwards. You're using 2 left legs for a chair that needs a left and a right leg, and then you're gonna start you're gonna start drilling new holes into legs that's already been pre-drilled.
That's already had the holes.
It's already got holes into it, just because you want to look cool in front of your wife and kids, and you can put something together without instructions. The table
pretty much fell apart.
Yeah, but anyway, men, dads, we need to be under the authority of God. A godly father is a man under authority. We're not rebels, we're not nomads, but we are under the authority of God. We try to be our own boss, we try to, this and that, but we need to always remind our children that we are followers of Jesus Christ, that we surrender our lives to Him completely. It's all His ways, all our days. I used to have a license plate thing that said that. Anyway, last one, guys. A godly father will lead. The world is in desperate need of men who will lead wisely. Leadership is not domination or control. A leader is one who goes first. He sets the pace for the family by practicing what he preaches. He is on the lookout for dangers and takes initiative to protect his family. That's one of the responsibilities of being the head of the household. To protect his family from them. He meets first with God. That's what I was just talking about. We have to answer to an authority. He meets first with God so that when he presents a plan to his family, they have confidence that he is following the direction of the Holy Spirit. He leads them to a healthy Bible teaching church. He leads them in personal devotions. He leads them away from worldliness. He leads his wife as her confident. He leads his wife as her confident and champion. He leads his children to personal devotions. He leads them away from worldliness. He leads his children to come to know Christ. He leads in his community, and wise counsel. He leads at church by serving according to his gifts. He leads other men to follow his example. He is a man that his children and wife can be proud of. You gotta finish out with any Bible verses?
I'm done.
So guys, basically in a nutshell, we need men to step up and be men. We don't need just men to try to do it on their own way and follow the world's description or definition of what a man is. We need to get back to the biblical description of what men is. I pray this episode has blessed you. You can find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can subscribe to our channels, like them, leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time
on We Think Biblically.